The Buffalo Bills are literally about to play in 1-degree weather. A familiar face has rejoined the squad right in time for the playoffs. And what the are we going to do about Matt Haack? All coming up on today's edition of the Dom Mafia Report. Yo ho ho, Dom Mafia. Welcome to yet another edition of the Dom Mafia Report. We have a couple of stories I wanted to go over today before I get into my regularly scheduled content of course, the game preview for Saturday night's matchup against the Patriots, and then other various collaborations and live streams. Some storylines that I thought that were pretty significant. We need to go over them because this is ultimately going to affect what happens this coming Saturday. Jumping right into it, first story, it's going to be fucking cold in Buffalo on Saturday night. How cold, you might ask? I mean, you have a weather app. You tell me. 1 degree. Spoiler alert. Okay? Not sure about a lot of you, but I was born in Buffalo. I lived there until I was about 13 years old. Moved down to South Carolina. Full transparency, I have not been back to Buffalo between the months of October to, I would say, February, because I try to avoid that type of weather. I'm not going to lie to you, I completely forgot what 1 degree even feels like. I can't imagine it feels great. My memory has since dwindled. It's going to be terrible for the players, and what's even more impressive, I would say, is the fans that are going to be in the stands cheering on our damn team. Half the reason why it's the best fan base on the face of the planet. 1 degree, and I guarantee you every single fucking seat in that stadium is gonna be filled. And I guarantee that we will be able to hear screams from the International Space Station in the fucking stratosphere. That's how much energy I am anticipating to see. But overall, we need to look at how this is going to affect the game. And there is no argument against the fact that the Buffalo Bills have not performed the best in unfavorable weather conditions. In our defense, let's just say that this has been absolutely the weirdest season when it came down into home games. If you're talking about any type of extreme weather that would affect an offense's ability to make successful, consistent drives, Buffalo has experienced it just about each and every single home game. I mean, we all remember the damn monsoon that happened during that first Pats matchup. Falcons game, there was a bunch of snow. And so even the game against the Jets, the winds were still picking up pretty precisely. On Saturday, we're getting something a bit different. Sub-zero temperatures, 1 degree. From what I ended up looking at from the forecast today, granted it's only Tuesday, a lot can change until then. Winds don't seem to be extreme whatsoever. 5-6 mile an hour winds. One would assume that this is not going to affect Josh Allen's passing game whatsoever. But at the end of the day, we need to understand something. That ball is legitimately about to feel like a brick, and getting hit in 1 degree is probably going to feel absolutely painful. So I am very interested to see what exactly our game plan, specifically offensively, is going to look like while battling up with those types of conditions. I wouldn't be surprised if we end up going with the hot hand in Devin Singletary, who has absolutely been emerging at the perfect possible time, really establishing that run game, and then, of course, having Josh Allen open up that passing game. As long as there isn't any type of precipitation, and as long as there isn't any type of extreme winds, I really don't foresee this cold weather affecting the Bills' offense by any means whatsoever. On the Pats side of things, we need to understand something. Mac Jones is from Jacksonville, Florida. He played college football in Alabama. And granted, he's been in the NFL for about a year right now. He's played in his share of cold games. But this is hands down probably not only the coldest environment he has ever played in, this is probably the coldest environment he has ever physically been in. 1 degree. So I fully anticipate the Pats to go on ahead and really attempt to try and get that run game going. But I think Mac Jones is going to be absolutely miserable. Regardless, this weather is going to be a sight to see. Next story, Shaq Lawson. Shaq Lawson, yes, we remember him, defensive end, longtime defensive end of the Buffalo Bills, was recently released from the New York Jets. And what happens, you might ask? So Shaq Lawson just ended up signing with the Buffalo Bills. Now, several people predicted this once he ended up getting released from the Jets. And yes, he does have that familiarity with the defense. Now, I don't want anyone to think that he is going to take any type of meaningful snaps from any of the starters that we have had out there so far. Sean McDermott is very loyal to the team that brought them to where they are. So, in my opinion, if Shaq Lawson plays at all, it is going to be strictly for any type of depth situation, or say, for example, one of our defensive ends goes down and we need somebody to go on ahead and fill in. I love this signing. I think it makes a whole bunch of sense to bring in familiarity, especially going into the playoffs. Bravo, Brandon Beane doing it once again. And then final story, I mean, we have to talk about Haack, right? We have to talk about Matt Haack. I sincerely was not on the Haack train after that Pittsburgh Steelers game with those absolute shanks that man ended up putting out there in front of a live audience. And then, of course, we had the luxury of forgetting that we even had a punter for about 2 games where the Bills just did not punt whatsoever. So it was completely out of our mind. But then we have that travesty against the Jets, which happened this past Sunday. 3 shanked punts in a row. It was absolutely disgusting. It was absolutely disgusting. Probably one of the worst performances I have ever seen from any special teamer ever in my entire 30 years of watching football. But so many people on Twitter, they've been getting into arguments and conversations asking whether or not that it would be appropriate for us to move over the guy who is currently on our practice squad, or basically find another answer as a punter going into the playoffs, because we know that that's a pretty important position when it comes into the field position battle. Like many Buffalo Bills talking heads have said, I sincerely agree with it. Don't expect any changes whatsoever at all. He's our punter. It's just something that we're going to have to do. We're going to have to grit our teeth and hope that if we have to punt, that we're not going to see any type of shank moving forward. Everyone knows when he was in Miami, he was known for shanking punts. But one thing that he does do great, is hold the ball for Tyler Bass in any type of field goal situation. Now, everyone's been talking about, hey, we missed Bojorquez. 9 times out of 10, anytime Bass ever missed a field goal in 2020, it was because of the way that Bojorquez held the ball. Matt Haack is great at it. And as you can see, Tyler Bass is playing practically at an all-pro level when it comes down into a kicker. Now, many people might ask, well, Dan, anybody can hold the ball. The significance that I want to put out there for Haack is, last year when he was in Miami, Jason Sanders, their kicker, was at an all-pro level. He was an absolute stud. Matt Haack leaves the team. They get a new holder. Jason Sanders has had a really rough year. Missed several field goals. Is not the same kicker that was putting out what happened once Haack was holding the ball for him at that point. So at the end of the day, we really need to go on ahead and just sort of have a give and take type situation. We need to accept the fact that there may be a couple of shanked punts, and we also need to accept the fact that Haack is probably one of the best holders in the game when it comes down into the field goal unit. So at the end of the day, I'm definitely going to keep him on the squad and continue to punt, just because I know him holding the football is going to translate into points for the Buffalo Bills. It sucks. I definitely don't see this man being on the team next year, but unfortunately at this point, we're stuck with him. Let's just cross our fingers and hope that all of the shanks are out of his damn system. Dal Mafia, thank you so much for tuning in to yet another edition of the Dal Mafia Report. I'm going to be going live tomorrow night at 7 p.m. EST, general Q&A, and then at 9:30 p.m. EST tomorrow night, that's Wednesday, the AFC East Roundtable is going to be on Richie's channel. So do not miss out on that. We have a lot of juicy-ass content coming up. It's playoff season, baby. It's playoffs, so start getting fucking hyped. Dal Mafia, love you. Thank you for tuning in. And before I let you go, you better always remember, let's go Buffalo.